Hello, this is Anirban Saha, and you are listening to one new episode of Season 1, where we interview an informatics student doing a student job here in Magdeburg. Today we have with us Aniruddh Shukla, who currently works in two research institutes as a research assistant and is only in his second semester. Let's have this conversation with him. Hello Anirudh. I thank you so much for taking time out during your examination and doing this interview. When you had just come to Magdeburg, I told you about the podcast and you gave me a good amount of feedback. We are coming to a close of this first season, and I think I should take this opportunity to thank you for all your inputs.
Yeah, hello Anirban. It's my pleasure to be on your show. Yeah, I remember when I came to Magdeburg during my first semester, you had this idea, you pitched in this idea of doing this podcast series, and many people were interested, and we just brainstormed together. And yeah, I am quite glad that this turned out to be such a big success. That this is.
I think I lost a part of your answer there.
What a part of my answer.
Okay. I would want this to be very less of an interview and more of a conversation between two friends catching up after a long time. So, how has life been for you during your second semester in the middle of the pandemic?
Yeah, you are correct. We lost touch during this semester, but we cannot blame because we all know that semester here is very tough. And when we came, the life was very good in Magdeburg. COVID has just slowed down, but from November we know the pandemic hit again and we are in lockdown. The winter here gets very gloomy, as people say, but experiencing it for the first time was a different thing altogether. But yeah, I cannot complain because I have my work and studies and things to keep me focused. So altogether, I would say it's a mixed bag, yeah.
I'll come directly to the questions. There is a notion that it is very difficult getting a student job during the pandemic. This isn't the case with you, isn't it?
Yeah, you are correct. That isn't the case with me, but I should rather say I was lucky and also I worked hard. But this notion is not completely correct because I feel that even if you work hard and you focus on your skills rather than just whining the whole day, then you can get jobs.
Oh, some strong reactions there from you.
That is just what I feel.
You are doing two jobs currently, one at the University Clinicum and the other at the Hala Institute of Economic Research. Am I correct?
Yes, you are correct.
So could you tell me a bit about your work at the Clinicum? I remember you were very excited after the first interview. You were like jumping with joy.
Yeah, you are correct. I was very happy with that interview after that interview because that was my first experience with the German working system here. I went to the lab and I saw that there was the lab first time that people were actually working in a wet lab where they actually do research with the RNA sequence data, and yeah, it was quite an experience for me. My position requires me there to work with raw RNA sequence data and then do some pre-processing on them. And as we know that they are very high sequence data, so they have many dimensions. So I have to do some dimension reduction, mainly PCA or TSNE, to contract them into a lower dimension so that I can give them some visualization and report which the professor will use in their research. So yeah, it's quite interesting, I would say.
Okay, so if you have to summarize your work at the Clinicum in one sentence for laymen, for people like me who are not into your work, how would you do that?
It's just simple working with very high dimensional data, reducing it to lower dimension and visualizing it. That should sum up.
So, what kind of data is that, and what are you working on?
That is actually, you can say that is textual medical data. So we all know that RNA is made up of thymine, guanine, adenosine, cytosine. It's a collection of all those things. So it's sequence of those things which I have to work and pre-process and do all those stuff on that.
So that sounds like RNA and DNA stuff.
Correct. Yes.
So will I be correct if I say that you are working on RNA sequencing?
Yes. Correct. That is a part of my work.
Okay. And if I understood your answer, because we are talking online, and this is the second interview that I'm conducting for this podcast online. You were excited after the first interview because you saw a wet lab for the first time.
Yes. Yes. That was the case
And
because I have never seen something of that magnitude in my whole life.
and that was your first interview.
Yes. Correct. In Germany, it was my first interview.
In Germany, it was your first interview as a student at this university, and you got the job.
Yeah, I would consider myself lucky, but yeah, that was the case.
And you were in your first semester.
Yes, that is correct.
That's quite a deal. And this is the second time you mentioned luck. I believe you're lucky when you're prepared and you meet an opportunity.
Yeah, you are correct, but I would rather say that you need a bit of luck in everything. But yeah, you are correct. Hard work is the most important, but at some factor, I feel luck is
So
a matter.
you put on your hard work and you prepared yourself. You got the opportunity was also there, and you were also prepared to take that opportunity, right?
Yeah,
So please
it's a
credit
selection of
yourself a bit. Please credit yourself a bit on your hard work. That's
Okay,
good
I
job
will.
done.
Okay, thank you for your kind words.
Okay, so what is your work at the Hala Institute? Very briefly.
Uh, this is also quite different from what I do at the clinicum because here I have to extract all the real estate data from the member EU state, that is house price and rent price. Then I have to do some pre-processing on it, and I have to find some pattern and trend out of it, based on which the professor of the economics department do their research.
Okay, so if you have to summarize your work, how would you
Uh,
do that? So is that finding patterns? Maybe doing logistic regressions, maybe?
it's a collection. I would say first I have to use some web scrapers to scrape the data,
So
clean
scraping,
it, scraping, then I have to clean it, and then I have to use some regression on it.
some regression on it. Okay. So how many hours are you working in total?
My first contract is of 40 hours per month, and the second also the same. So in total, I work 80 hours a month.
You're currently in your second semester. You're working 80 hours a month. Um, how are you managing your time and balancing academics with work?
I should tell you, it gets very difficult. 80 hours job. I have taken more subject than what told by the faculty. I know it's wrong, but yeah, that, and I have a project going also. It's quite difficult, but I manage. My day usually begins with scraping because we have a rigid calendar which we have to follow for scraping. Days are fixed for scraping. Then I go and do some work for the RNA-seq data. I just keep it in mapping because it takes 5-6 hours to map it to the reference. That I keep it and I just go and do my work. Then some household chores are there. Then even I have to give around 8 to 10 hours weekly for my project also. So that is also a thing. And we cannot forget the assignment also. It's also a very important part. So yeah, keep. I should rather say I am very busy the whole week.
Okay. That is very evident because you hardly met me during this semester.
I know because but what can I do? This is what it is.
Okay, I need to ask you this. Did you have any previous work experience when you were in Calcutta? I mean, back
Uh,
home in India.
yes, I worked at TCS, but that is not much because it's not even a year. So you can say I am more like a freshie.
When did you graduate your bachelor's?
In 2019.
In 2019, you graduated, so around June,
Yes.
and you started your master's in April 2020, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, correct.
So, okay, so how many months did you work in TCS?
8 months around, I think so. Yes.
Okay, that is negligible.
Yeah, that is the reason I said you can treat me like a fresher also.
Okay. For our audience, could you just mention how you got to know about the two job roles? One at
Uh,
the University Clinicum and the other at the Hala Institute.
I would say that the university has made a very good careers.ovgu.de. That page is very helpful for students. I got to know about both of these positions from there only. They were mentioned there. I just applied, and yeah, I was fortunate enough to get into both.
Okay, I'll break the question down. How did you approach the University Clinicum? It was your first interview, and you were in your first semester with almost zero previous work experience. Uh, in the first few months, because if I remember it properly, you got the job in around October 2020, right?
Yes, yes, that is correct.
And due to the pandemic, you came to Magdeburg in July, August.
Yeah.
So, what was going in your mind, and how did you approach the University Clinicum?
First of all, I would say that the position was rather very unorthodox because generally people look for position directly where machine learning or Python, those things are given. I would feel that this is more of an applied domain where you have to use the knowledge of both biological processing and computer science. So I saw the ad and I just thought to myself only an application should not be enough. Wrote a good cover letter. I feel like it was very good, and also I gave them a work example of what I can do. That impressed the professor, I think so, and they approached me.
So, along with your application, you sent a working model.
Yes, correct.
Well, that is cool. Could you walk us through your interview process?
I would say it was not an interview process. Rather, it was a session to go knowing each other. They were very cool and they were like, what you do, how you do, and what will you do. The position was explained and what is expected out of me, what are my career goals, and those things. It was rather an informal chat, or I should call it rather an informal chat more than an interview.
Anirudh, there is a popular notion that it is tough for a person with no previous work experience or a fresher, complete fresher, to get his or her first job here as a student. Would you agree with this notion?
Yeah, people say that. I have also heard this when I was coming to Magdeburg that people with experience are preferred because they know the work. They have working for 10 years. I know why people say this, but I should say that it should not be more of a concern because the work should matter more. And I am an example. I didn't have so much experience, and if I can get it, why can't people who don't have work experience get it? I should say, don't listen to them. Just believe in yourself,
So,
work hard, and yeah, you will get it.
okay. Did you approach your peers and senior students that you met in Magdeburg to know more about student jobs? And what kind of guidance did you get there?
This is kind of funny. I should say that I was very much scared when I was back in India asking people about student jobs here. The general answer was that Magdeburg is a very small city. Student jobs are not available. You have to go and do physical jobs. And these things were in my ears maximum time. So yeah, it was a mixed bag.
Hey, you also met me and I asked you to do heavy jobs.
Yeah, that is the reason I say it was a mixed thing.
Okay. Um, Whenever I hear this, I feel slightly weird. Um, Imagine a hypothetical situation. I imagine this way the most of the time. Okay. Imagine a hypothetical situation where your younger brother is coming to Germany for his studies. would you actively encourage him to do odd jobs or physical jobs?
First of all, I would say no, because when you are coming for a technical study here, you should be so much confident in your technical skills that you can get technical jobs. But when I am saying this, you should keep in mind that people have their finances to manage. If you are not getting anything and that is your last hope, only then you should go and do the odd job. Because first of all, for 1 year you are safe, so you should be concerned and try for, yes, TV jobs or student jobs or internships, because they are available at plenty.
Let's come back to simpler questions. uh, do you find the two study cultures different? One in India because you studied in Calcutta, and now you're in Magdeburg. So, do you find the two study cultures different? How are
Yes,
they
I would
different?
I would say they are different. Yes, I'll give you an example. When I was doing my bachelor's back in India, there was a new subject introduced, which is data analytics. But I was not allowed to take it because there was no teacher to teach it. So that was the level of constraint which was put on us back in bachelor's. And coming from there to Germany in Magdeburg is a whole different experience, because I'm free to choose as many subjects as I want. I can choose my career path and goals. So this thing is a very big, very good thing and very positive thing for me and for other students also, I feel.
I will interrupt the flow of the interview here. A friend of mine just informed me that from the project work that you're doing, the abstract got accepted in an international journal. Is that true?
Yeah, thank you for that. But yes, it's true that yes, 2 days ago our paper got accepted. Our abstract got accepted.
Okay, congratulations on that.
Thank you. And for the listeners, it's International Society for Magnetic Resonance in Medicine. It's an international conference. We have to go ahead and go with the paper, and if it gets accepted, it will be printed. Thanks.
Oh my god, I wish I knew this before. I could have arranged questions for you on this. Oh.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, okay, I'll get back to my set of questions. So I know that you are very active on social media. You have also assisted a couple of aspirants online, and one of them got in touch with me, being referred to by you. My next question is very important. In your personal capacity, if you would like to take an initiative to assist new students better, what would that be?
Uh, yeah, I know some people contact me back from India that I got admitted in this course, and it's my duty to guide them towards the mentors so that they can get proper guidance. And yeah, if I get the time, I'll be very much interested to guide new students, because it's very difficult coming from India to Germany, because I also have experienced the same thing. For me, the main thing would be that they get proper guidance, because the information is there, but people don't know how to access it. It should be more accessible, and people should know. People should read. My feeling is that they should, because people suffer because they don't know. The information should reach people. That's very important, I think.
So you say that the information is there, but people are not able to reach the information?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I will reiterate my question. If you have to take an initiative to assist new students better, would you want to make sure that the information reaches the new students?
Yes, I should, because I know the German education system is at a level that there is no much handholding, but the people who are coming are not used to it. I would say in the beginning there should be some scope of making them know and making them understand this. This is the information. This is how you should teach it. So that should be a thing to look for.
Let me ask you on record. Would you like to become a mentor in the future?
Look, I cannot promise anything, but yeah, it's a very noble thing to do, and it's very prestigious also. I would really want to become one, but currently my time constant are such that I don't have much time. I'll surely think about this in the future. And
Oh man, I feel so let down right now.
no, no, don't be, because I really want to be, but my
It's,
commitments are such. Hope you understand. I'll really look forward to it
yeah,
and see if I can do something.
yeah. This has been a long recording, and my watch shows that we are towards
Correct.
uh, 20 minutes now. Before asking you how important German language is, I would like to ask you if you have any tips to new students seeking student jobs in their first 2 semesters.
Yeah, actually, I have. First one and the most important thing is start looking early, because people wait for too long. They are like, I have come now in the first semester. I should rather settle down, do this thing, and start looking from the second semester. But I would rather say that you should start looking from the beginning, because it's not that you go and apply and you get it. So there's a whole process to it. You learn how to write a cover letter, how should you approach. Those things are important. So you should start early, first of all. Second thing is that we don't have this common in India, but cover letter here is very important. You should be very good at writing cover letters, because that is your motivation to apply the job. And if you don't have motivation, people will not consider you. And the third important thing which I would say is that don't be afraid or sad of rejection, because that's a part of life. Even if you are rejected, just work on yourself and you will get it, no problem. So yeah, that's my 3 points to it.
Final question. How important is German language in your daily communication with your peers in 2 different workplaces, one at the University Clinicum and the other at the Hala Institute of Economic Research?
I would say I am rather blessed that my work culture is very mixed. That one of my professors is from Germany, one is from, I would say, wait, I forgot to say. Sorry. One is from Greece, one is from Spain. So it's very varied culture. We communicate in English mostly. For me, it's not much of a concern, but it's a very good thing to learn German, because it opens you to a very wide array of jobs also. So yeah, you should learn German.
Trust me, Anirudh, it's such a pleasure talking to you after such a long time, and this time on record for the series of podcasts. You are writing your second semester examination, and in your 2 semesters, you have got 2 jobs. The first being when you were in your first semester, and hopefully, if everything goes well, you will be published in international journal. It's incredible, and I'm sure that this interview will inspire a lot of new students from the next semesters onwards.
Thank you for taking this time with me and doing this wonderful podcast series. I thank you for this, and yeah, yes, thanks. Bye.
Bye bye.
Hi again. I thank you for listening to this episode. Please subscribe if you want further updates. Please share this with your friends to whom this could be valuable. In case you have a query or a feedback, please send me an email to mailme@anirbansaha.com. You could also send me a text on Twitter, Telegram, or Skype. My username is Saha Anirban.